how do you even get Bitcoin Satoshi vision? I'm getting this question from people right now, and ultimately it's not that easy to answer. It's not that easy to get, I'll be honest. So for a little background, it's been in I think it was 2020, they started taking it off of all the exchanges. Some tweets went out from CZ at Binance, and then they went around the entire industry and started delisting it on all the exchanges. Now Coinbase just this week has announced that anyone who's even holding it, they're gonna looks like they're gonna lose it right before the trial in January, the COPA trial. So how do you even get it? Well, I'm working on some ways. I'm talking to a company in Switzerland that I've been working with on getting it, that I've been getting it from, and trying to coordinate a way to do it. But ultimately, hopefully I'll be able to recommend something in the near future. Right now, it's not that easy to get. You'll have to kind of figure it out on your own on how to do it, because like I said, all the major places that anyone would get it from, they've completely delisted it. But I just wanted to give you an update on my intent with that, and also my intent to be at the trial in January. Calvin Ayre from Ayre Ventures, the guy behind London Blockchain and CoinGeek, he actually, on Twitter, he said, come to the trial. So I reached out to the London Blockchain Convention, and I recommended that, I offered hosting a panel discussing post-trial with experts. And I put a challenge out there to bring forward rights attorneys and also the attorneys from COPA and BTC Core, so everybody can discuss the outcome of the trial. On Friday, I'm going to be meeting with Kurt Walker Jr. He is also from CoinGeek and an influencer in the Bitcoin space. He's on Fox Business and a number of other shows. So I'm going to meet with him on Friday at Friday morning. We're just going to do a private Zoom, and then strategize, get to know each other a little bit better. And then on Twitter, after that, I'm going to do a space on Twitter Space with the CoinGeek. So I'll post my link to Twitter. I'll actually post their link to Twitter in the description here, so people could find them and how to find that space, because it's going to be live on there on Friday at some point. So it'll be interesting to see and do all that stuff from a non-lawyer's perspective, and try to put this puzzle together for people, because, so there's some huge things on the line, and people are underestimating the significance of the Kleiman v. Wright decision and the impact on the upcoming case, because what ultimately was decided was that Wright and Kleiman did not have a partnership, and that the jury decided Wright alone created Bitcoin. The impact of that is monumental. Jury instructions, the trial instructions, the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto was not before the court. It wasn't at issue. The media hasn't truthfully been forefront about the actual decision about it, and it hasn't properly reported on that trial. So it's hard for people who can't read all that complex stuff in there. It's really been, they haven't had the fair opportunity, but the media reports to claim that Wright loses the trial and he had to pay money in damages and he stole $100 million. These are just not true. That's not even true, because the company that they ordered him to pay money to was a company he controlled, and that there was no partnership, and that the jury determined that Wright alone was the creator of Bitcoin. All right. Not in so many words, in so much more terms than that. But if you really dive deep on this thing, the impact of that, if Wright's counsel gets that information, I would be hanging that before the court over and over again, because they're going to be trying to, the other side, COPA and BTC Core, their strategy is to paint Satoshi Wright, as this fraud, a total manipulator. Absolute, smoke and mirrors. The idea is to paint as much smoke as possible and confusion on all these documents that have yet to be determined. So they've yet to be determined. There's very little, the evidential stuff is yet to be determined. Okay. It's very, very new. And this started back from the the Kleiman Wright case, at the time that, if you remember, Wright failed to provide the 8th slice of the keys, like the multiple slices of a keys, to determine his total assets. So the court lashed out at him, and the court lashed out and ordered sanctions on him. And basically that Wright was failing to comply with the court and produce this. It's called like a motion to compel by the other side to produce this evidence and these slice of the keys. He said the court said that he was slow. He said it was depending on the forthcoming piece of the missing key slices held by the other individuals because it is used as a basically a Shamir secret sharing scheme. The judge was deeply skeptical of that explanation, and the judge basically he lashed out at Wright at that point. However, there's a big however. That entire lash out was from the magistrate judge at the trial level. Before trial, Wright's counsel appealed to the district court judge, and the district court judge overturned that entire sanctions, negative outright, saying it was totally uncalled for and out of context. So that has been completely put to rest. This is just a classic David versus Goliath, story right out of the Bible. I mean, this giant Goliath, COPA, Mark Zuckerberg, Dorsey from Twitter, the Coinbase group, Kraken. I mean, these are like billion-dollar entities, giant Goliath, going up against one tiny little nobody guy. I mean, it's just insane if you think about like the magnitude of what's happening here. And it's the fact that it's going to be really hard to prove a negative by the Goliath side, COPA, because they want to ultimately prove this guy was not and is not Satoshi. It's hard to prove that negative. So their strategy is to completely bombard the entire court with beyond a reasonable doubt that the guy is a fraud, a liar, and a cheat. That's what they're trying to do. But again, back to what's already been decided by the jury here in Florida. And it's going to it looks to me like it would have a lot of influence. It's going to have a lot of influence if it's put together right and arguing the law by the attorneys in there. Judge, this has already been decided, This has already been decided. There isn't anyone else to create this other than Dr. Wright. That's what this attorney should be stating over and over and over again. It's already been decided. The jury's already decided this matter. All this stuff is just a waste of the court's time. And nothing, there's no reason to even consider, even if the fraud aside, it's already been decided that he's already created. It's a matter of law. It's gone to jury in Florida. So, and then the 11th Circuit came back on the decision. So I'm trying my best to stay neutral here, but at the same time, rooting for Team Zuckerberg is just not going to happen. So if you're on Team Zuckerberg's side, you better take a deep look in the mirror on really what's going on here. And that means the BTC side, okay? Because that's what this is all about. The BTC side, the one that's been artificially created, what it looks like to masquerade as Bitcoin. I mean, this is really what it comes down to. Is there's a party that's masquerading, calling itself Bitcoin, when you really get down to it, that's what this case is about. When you really get down to it, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin, and that's what the copyright, where the next part of this case would go to. So, which is the copyright claim, because if he ends up losing. If the COPA ends up losing this and they do determine he's Satoshi, it looks like it would be a natural transition into that. And I talked about that yesterday, but there's just so much happening here. There's a really good article I'll post in here from Mehl that he really broke this thing down in detail. It's so intense, and his analysis as an expert, Mehl is an expert, a former patent attorney, definitely someone that has a lot of credibility and understanding, the legality and structuring of this. So I'm going to post his article and insight from an expert's perspective on how he's doing an analysis on this. It would be a good read on overall in all these cases. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, dude. Like and comment. And like Zig Ziglar always said, I will see you at the top. This is Gavin Mehl.